Dun, da, 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 our national survey on student recruitment and retention is done. I know you've been waiting for this data. You're so excited about this data. Well, maybe it's just me because I'm a mega nerd. I love to know why parents pick schools and why they leave schools. And we do an annual survey on it. It's done pretty much. We're going to hit some of the top lines in this video, and we're going to come back, fully bake out the slide deck on it, make sure that we've got all the top lines completely fleshed out, and make sure that we haven't missed any. And I think we're going to present on this at a national survey coming up, or I'm sorry, at a national conference coming up. We're a little behind on it because, well, we got an ice storm here in Memphis, Tennessee. As you can see, I made it into the office on my four-wheel drive with my hoodie on. And so I know you want the data. I didn't want to delay getting this to you, so let's get into it. So many of you know that our case at K-12 business is all about recruiting and keeping your students from customer service to secret shopping. But most of all, we want to know what makes a parent stay with their current school and what makes them leave to go to another school. And we've been conducting a national survey for a few years, and I've got my resident mega super nerd here, Gene, who we came in on this snowy, icy day because we use this data in our own company to help recruit your students. But I was like, why aren't we sharing it with everybody else? If we believe in helping traditional public schools, well, let's help them. So today I'm going to cover some of the major things we learned in this survey. We're not going to get to it all. I'm not going to read you PowerPoint slides. And by the way, just in case any of you want to yell at me about typos or a chart not being like the right color palette, and I'm talking to you, Page Walkup, I'm talking to you. This is not the final version. We're going to clean it up. We're going to bedazzle it and make it look better. This is the raw data, but I wanted to get to you today because we were excited to go through it. So let's start to really talk about those major top lines right now, all right? So like I said, here are the top lines. I'm going to not read you the slide. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump down into like the main things that I thought were really interesting. So let's only talk today about what's like aha moments, like things that shocked us a little bit or we were surprised about. The first thing was, congratulations. Congratulations. You all are doing a better job communicating. I think that this is a lot of like COVID activities. Schools went to virtual learning and everyone had to step up their communications game. And it went up a whopping 16% from, well, not just pre-COVID, but from any survey we've ever done. All schools, now this includes your competition, but everyone has done a better job communicating. Kudos to you. And what I would say is keep it up, man. Keep up the emails. Keep up the text messages. You're doing great. This really, really helps. So great work. I obviously can't get into every piece of content, every piece of information that we have on this video. I could, but I think you'd get really bored and you'd split. So I really am going to kind of jump just to the really interesting points about this. And I tried to mark them in red just to make sure I would stand out. I'm going to pause right here really quickly. Parents considering changing schools, still around 43% out there. Now, this differs depending on the type of school and the type of area you're in. But nationally, people still know they have competition, they have choice in their schools, and they're looking around. So you just need to be aware of that. But that's not a significant change. But surprise, it is different with different schools than it's ever been. So let's talk about that. The two areas, though, that are less at risk than having their students leave by significant margin are first charter schools. It was 67% likely to switch pre-COVID, pre-2022. It's dropped 17%. Now they're still 50% likely to consider leaving their charter school they're in, but not near as much as they were last year or the prior year. I still got to haggle with Gene over the why, like why this is. I just want you to be aware that charter school parents are less likely to consider leaving than they did in the past. Now, homeschools, virtual schools, even more. They used to be near 67, 68% likely to think about switching from homeschool to a different type of school. It's dropped to 35% are now considering leaving. And I think you can surmise, let's guess for a second, that that's probably because these homeschools have really stepped up their game. They're getting more funding. They're getting more people coming. More people are interested in it. People have gotten used to it. I think that these are the reasons, but I'm not going to guess when we do our full wrap-up report. We're going to look at the exit surveys. We're going to dig a little deeper into this data to try to figure out why. But I still like to guess sometimes to see if I'm right. I think that this is why is that homeschools have really stepped up their game. So it's going to be harder to recruit from virtual schools to other types of schools than it has been in the past. So just be aware of that. One of the pieces of data that we do have right now ready to go is that charter schools are more perceived to prepare their students for success over past year. 11% increase from last year. I think this has got a lot to do with how they've communicated. So we're going to get into that when we make the full report. But know this, for charter schools and even in the home schools, they've done a really good job of showing that they're preparing their students for success. And I think that's why the drop-off has been so significant, or what I mean by the drop-off is their desire to leave has dropped dramatically over past years. So this is kind of interesting. Once again, Gene and I are going to bake the data, but they've really shown charter schools and homeschools that they're going to prepare their children for success. And I want you to think about that as we drift into another bucket. We are making a little bit of a guess right now until we fully bake this data on why parents at homeschools and charter schools are less likely to leave than in years past. But we did find something that was pretty significant. In years past, let me jump to this piece of data for you. 59% of charter school parents said that their children were being prepared for the future to be successful. Now it's up 70%. So that's 11% increase over past years. Homeschools have also increased what parents believe about their child's success. So this is going to be a real important finding because one of the main drivers about what parents want is, will their child be successful? And homeschools and charter schools have increased their game to indicate to parents that their children are going to be ready for the world, successful, and not living at home after they graduate. The top concerns, the top reasons why a parent chooses to leave or picks another school. This is the thing that I really want to get across to you. I want you to think about all your communications in this area. And the top three concerns haven't changed from past years, but they have gone up significantly on their importance. So the number one reason why a person picks a school hasn't changed in is it 4 years now? Hasn't changed in 4 years is, will their child be successful? Will their child still live at home, or will they go off to do great things? And it's gone up 14% from last year. Now, Safety's always been a big concern. It used to be bullying, then it was, shootings and COVID, and it's back to shootings maybe now, but safety is always a major concern. But it's up. Safety is a 10% higher driver when a parent's picking a school than it was in years past. And that's amazing to me. Transportation, busing, open enrollment, breakfast and lunch, still really important drivers. Anything that gets over 55%, I think is a really, really important driver. That means that there's a great majority of people that find that these issues are important. Now, remember, we were just talking about virtual schools, homeschools, and charter schools. And the one thing that they've done significantly better than private schools and traditional public schools is this number one driver, showing that their children will be successful. Now, I don't know what success means. It means something different to all parents, and you really got to get micro-targeted when trying to express what success means to those parents. In some areas, it's not college bound. In some areas, it's great trade schools. And some, it's just making sure that they grow up and don't live off of me. And you really have to target your community and your school district and really delve into this data a lot more deeply than I'm going over today. But it's still a main driver. Will they be successful? And so we're going to get into this data a little bit more over the next month as we continue to look at the crosstabs. And I keep looking at Gene. He's writing vigorous notes right now. We're going to dig deeper into this data. And I think I am presenting this at one of the national conferences coming up. We'll be sure to let you know that. But I think that the one thing I really want you to leave here with is the data is important. You've got to have the science first. And then you have to develop the art, which is the communications, your talking points, how the website looks, how your enrollment process looks, how you're communicating to retain your students, all those things. You got the art and science of communication. And this is really the science. And so I can't wait to dig into this more with you, but even though it's cold and it's icy outside, I can't show it to you right now. Maybe Jackson could put a picture in. Even though it's cold and icy outside, I still wanted to give you kind of a quick thumb dip check into this awesome poll that Gene has wrapped up and we've been arguing about all day. So I hope you find this helpful and I hope you recruit and retain more students. Go get them. Thanks.